Welcome back to the deep dive. You guys know we love to take deep dives into the stuff you're interested in, and a lot of you have been asking about relationships.
Especially after that last deep dive on solo living, right?
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot to unpack no matter where you are in life.
For sure.
So this time we're going to focus on modern relationships, specifically in Nigeria.
Yes, and we have a great jumping off point. This incredible interview you sent us with Rosalind Umar,
Oh yeah, Rosalind.
a woman who's been married for over 40 years.
Over 40 years.
She has some serious wisdom to share, and she does not hold back.
She does not, and that's why we love her, and that's why we're going to do a deep dive into her interview.
Let's do it.
So let's just jump right in.
Yeah.
One of the things that really stood out to me was her take on submission in marriage.
Oh, yeah.
And she actually asks this very provocative question in the interview.
Uh-huh.
She says, "Is your wife a lapdog?"
Well,
Clearly, she's not advocating for blind obedience here.
no, not at all.
What do you think she's getting at with that statement?
I think it's interesting because she's not saying wives shouldn't respect their husbands.
Right.
It's more about mutual respect.
Mm-hmm.
She's advocating for a much deeper level of respect.
Yeah.
Like where both partners have a voice and their opinions are valued.
It's a partnership.
Exactly.
And she even compares a healthy marriage to a board of directors,
Oh, I like that.
where both partners have an equal say
Yeah.
in making decisions.
Right.
Remember the anecdote she shared about refusing to go downstairs
Did
to
you-
greet her husband's acquaintance?
Yeah, she stood her ground.
She felt like her needs weren't being considered, so she stood her ground.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of cultures,
Mm-hmm.
there's that expectation
Yeah.
that the wife should always be accommodating,
Right.
always putting her husband's needs first.
Yeah.
But she kind of flips the script
Yeah.
and shows women that it's okay to have boundaries.
Yeah.
And to speak up when they feel disrespected.
It's about respecting yourself. Right. And I think this brings up a point that's important for anyone in a relationship, really,
Yes.
regardless of culture.
Absolutely.
It's about finding that balance between individual needs
Mm-hmm.
and the needs of the partnership.
Yes. How can couples negotiate those power dynamics in a way that feels fair and equitable to both partners?
It's such a good question.
Such a good question.
And speaking of things that can create tension in a relationship,
Oh, boy.
let's talk about money.
The big one.
Yeah, the elephant in the room.
Always.
Rosalind doesn't shy away from this topic at
Yes,
all.
although she does not.
What really struck me was her critique of how money has become this like distorted measure of love in Nigerian society.
Yeah, it's almost like there's this rule
Right.
that the more a man spends on his wife, the more he loves her,
Right, exactly.
which puts so much pressure on men
Yes.
to constantly prove their worth through financial displays
Right.
and for women to live up to those expectations.
Yes. And she tells that story about the husband buying cars for his two wives.
Right. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And the wife who asked for the more expensive car
Is seen as the favorite.
is seen as the favorite. It's a small detail, but
Yeah.
it speaks volumes
It really does.
about how material possessions get tied up
Yeah.
in these feelings of love and validation.
It makes you wonder, are those gestures really about love or more about societal pressure?
Right, or a need to maintain a certain image.
Exactly.
Is it possible that these extravagant displays of wealth
Yeah.
are actually masking deeper issues in the relationship?
That's a great point. What happens when those material things are no longer there? Does the love fade away too?
Exactly. And this ties into another point that she makes about the importance of women being financially independent.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just about having your own money.
Right.
It's about having a sense of agency and not being dependent on a man for survival.
Yes, and she had that great basin of water analogy. She compares it to carrying a basin of water together. And if the woman is financially independent, she can share the weight of that basin.
Yes.
Makes the journey easier for both of them.
so powerful.
So it is.
It challenges that traditional notion of their man as the sole provider.
It really does.
And she even argues that financial independence makes women better partners.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Because when you're not constantly worried about money, you can focus on building a genuine connection.
That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, it frees you from that sense of obligation or dependence and lets you choose love based on genuine compatibility
Yes.
and sheer value.
Not on financial necessity.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to something that I know a lot of people are curious about.
Okay.
This whole talking stage phenomenon.
So juicy,
And Rosalind has some very strong opinions
as always.
on this, especially how it plays out in the Nigerian dating scene.
I'm ready. Tell me everything.
So she paints this picture of this culture where men are expected to finance a woman's lifestyle.
Even before they're officially in a relationship.
Oh.
And it sounds like some women even have multiple men
Oh my God.
vying for their attention during this talking stage.
It's a competition.
It's like this game
Wow.
with clear winners and losers.
And the prize is financial security.
Yeah. And what I thought was interesting is she connects this back to that pressure men feel to prove their worth through their wallets.
It all comes back to that, doesn't it?
It does.
It makes you wonder if this is creating a generation that's more focused on the superficial aspects of a relationship.
Yeah.
Like the fancy dinners, the designer bags,
Right.
rather than the deeper emotional connection.
Right. And if relationships become purely transactional,
Mm.
what does that say about our ability to form genuine, lasting bonds?
That's the big question, isn't it? Can you build a healthy relationship in an environment where financial expectations often overshadow genuine connection?
Such a good question, and the one that we'll continue to explore as we go deeper into Rosalind's world.
I can't wait.
Yeah, this is good stuff. This is good stuff.
So much to think about already.
I know.
But we're just getting started.
Let's take a break and come back for more.
Yes, we'll be right back with part 2 of this deep dive.
Sounds good.
Oh.
It's interesting how she links these modern dating trends to societal pressures in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Like there's this underlying belief that a man's love is directly proportional to his financial prowess.
And that can create a really skewed perception of what a healthy relationship should look like.
For sure, imagine the pressure on young men.
I know. It's like they're being told that their worth is tied to their bank account.
Exactly. And it's not fair to women either, you know?
Right.
Puts them in this position where they have to choose between financial security and genuine love.
It's tough, and that's why she's so passionate about women being financially independent.
Yes.
It's not just about having a safety net, it's about having equal footing in the relationship.
And she uses that basin of water analogy.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yes, love that one.
Carrying a basin of water together. If the woman is financially independent, she can share the weight, make the journey lighter for both of them.
It's so simple, but
I know.
it's so powerful.
It is. And think about the freedom that comes with financial independence.
Absolutely.
It gives women the option to walk away from a relationship if they're not happy
Yes.
without worrying about their security, you know?
And it empowers them to make choices based on what's best for them,
Exactly.
not what's dictated by their circumstances.
She's basically saying, hey, you have the right to build a life for yourself regardless of your relationship status.
She's awesome. I love her.
And she's not just talking the talk, she's walking the walk right.
She built a successful career while raising a family.
Exactly.
A living testament to the idea that women can have it all.
Absolutely. A real inspiration.
She is.
Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about social media.
Okay.
It's interesting to see how she navigates this digital world.
Especially given her age.
Right. It's like she's straddling two different worlds.
Yeah.
You know, on one hand, she's this incredibly modern woman.
Yeah.
Strong opinions, vibrant personality. But she comes from a generation that didn't grow up with smartphones and Instagram.
Right.
It creates this interesting tension.
It does. And it sounds like she was pretty resistant to social media for a long time.
Yeah, can you imagine? A woman who built a whole empire without ever posting a selfie.
I know.
But then a video of her working out went viral.
Oh, yeah.
She kind of got sucked into the vortex.
I love that.
It's almost ironic, isn't it?
It is.
Years avoiding the spotlight, then boom, internet sensation.
It's the unpredictable nature of social media.
It really is.
You never know.
You never know.
But it highlights how social media can really distort our perceptions of reality.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
People present these curated versions of themselves online, often focused on material wealth and status.
Which ties back into that pressure young people are facing to live up to these unrealistic expectations.
It all connects, doesn't it?
It
It's like everyone's trying to keep up with the Joneses. But the Joneses are now perfectly filtered Instagram influencers.
And that just feeds into this culture of comparison and competition that can be so toxic.
Especially in relationships.
Especially.
How can you focus on building a genuine connection
Right.
when you're constantly worried about whether your relationship looks good enough for Instagram?
It's like you're always trying to project this perfect image instead of just being yourself.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the things I admire most about Rosalind.
Yeah.
She's unapologetically herself.
Online and offline.
Yes.
She's not afraid to show her flaws, her wrinkles, her struggle.
That's what makes her so relatable.
So relatable.
She's real, she's authentic, and she doesn't try to pretend to be anything she's not.
Love that.
Now let's dive into another topic that she's quite passionate about.
Okay.
Friendship.
Friendship, yes.
She seems to have a very clear definition of what constitutes a true friend.
It's not just about someone you like to hang out with or someone who makes you feel good about yourself.
Right.
It's deeper than that.
It is.
She draws a sharp distinction between true friends and acquaintances.
Mm-hmm.
For her, true friends are those who are there for you through thick and thin,
Yeah.
who accept you for who you are, flaws and all.
She even says, I don't have many true friends, even after all these years.
Wow.
And it's not because she's unlikable.
Right.
It's because she has such a high standard for what she considers true friendship.
Quality over quantity.
Yes.
And the friendships she does have,
Mm-hmm.
some spanning over 50 years.
I know, it's incredible.
They're clearly incredibly deep and meaningful.
They are.
She talks about the importance of shared values, understanding, and acceptance.
It's about finding those people who truly get you,
Yeah.
who you can be yourself around without judgment.
I love that story she told about befriending the young doctor during her hospital stay.
Oh, me too.
Shows that true friendship can blossom in the most unexpected places. And age and social status don't really matter when there's a genuine connection.
It really doesn't.
It's a powerful reminder that true friendship is a precious gift.
And it makes you wonder, are we investing enough in cultivating those deep, meaningful connections in our own lives?
It's a good question.
It is.
Now, there's another aspect of friendship that she addresses.
Oh.
Toxic friendships.
Aha. Yeah.
She's not afraid to cut people off.
Even if they've been in her life for a long time.
She believes in setting clear boundaries and protecting her emotional well-being.
Which is so important.
It is.
I love that analogy she uses.
Which one?
Comparing a toxic friend to a poisonous snake.
Oh, yeah.
You don't wait around to get bitten before you remove yourself from the situation.
Exactly.
It's a powerful image.
It is.
It speaks to her strong sense of self-worth.
She's not going to waste her time and energy on people who drain her or bring her down.
It's a good reminder that we have the power to choose who we surround ourselves with.
We do.
And sometimes letting go of toxic relationships,
Even if it's painful,
even if it's painful.
is the best thing we can do for our own well-being.
And Rosalind demonstrates that beautifully.
She does.
Now let's move on to a topic that always sparks interesting conversation.
Oh.
And often a fair bit of debate.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Infidelity.
Ah, yes.
Rosalind's take on this is incredibly nuanced.
It's not a black and white issue for her.
It's not.
She recognizes that infidelity can be incredibly hurtful and damaging.
Mm-hmm.
But she also understands that it's often a symptom of deeper issues within a relationship.
She even suggests that men and women sometimes cheat for different reasons.
Oh, interesting.
She believes that men might be more driven by opportunity or a sense of excitement,
Oh.
while women may be seeking emotional or physical fulfillment that's lacking in their marriage.
It's a perspective that challenges the typical view of infidelity
Right.
as simply a betrayal of trust.
It's more complicated than that.
It makes you wonder if there are underlying societal pressures that contribute to these different motivations.
Absolutely.
And she even talks about situations where infidelity might not necessarily be a deal breaker.
Especially for more mature couples
Right.
who have weathered other storms.
And this is where her emphasis on communication and understanding really comes in.
It does.
She believes that couples need to be honest with each other about their needs and expectations, and that sometimes seeking professional guidance can be incredibly helpful in navigating these turbulent waters.
She doesn't shy away from the tough questions, does she?
No, she does not.
I mean, she even brings up the example of Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor.
The icons
Well,
who fell in love while filming Cleopatra,
despite both being married to other people at the time.
it's a classic example of how even strong marriages can be vulnerable to intense external forces.
They can.
And it begs the question, can infidelity ever be justified?
That's a loaded question.
It is.
And I don't think there's a simple answer.
No.
But I think her point is not to condone infidelity, but rather to encourage us to approach it with empathy and a willingness to understand the complexities involved.
It's about recognizing that sometimes things aren't as black and white as they seem.
Exactly. You know, as we're unpacking all these different facets of relationships, something else really stands out to me about Rosalind.
What's that?
Her incredible energy and vitality,
Oh, yeah.
especially for a woman in her 70s.
She's a force of nature.
She is.
It's inspiring to see her dedication to physical fitness,
I know.
boxing, lifting weights, planks.
She does it all.
She's not letting age define her limits.
And in the interview, she talks about how exercise helps her mental and emotional well-being, too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like her stress reliever, her mood booster.
It's her way of staying grounded.
It is.
I think there's a powerful message there for all of us, no matter our age.
There is.
You know, we hear about the physical benefits of exercise, but she's highlighting the mental and emotional aspects.
Which are just as important.
If not more so.
And it challenges this idea that as we get older, we should just slow down and take it easy.
Yeah.
Rosalind's out there proving that you can stay active and strong throughout your life.
She's advocating for a shift in how we view aging,
I think so.
embracing it as a natural part of life.
Not something to be feared or dreaded.
Exactly.
She's such a role model.
She is.
She's not trying to hide her age or pretend she's something she's not.
Mm-hmm.
She owns it.
And that's what makes her so captivating.
It is.
Remember what she said about how some people are so focused on chasing youth
Yes.
that they miss out on the beauty and wisdom that comes with age?
It's like they're trying to turn back the clock
Yeah.
instead of embracing the journey with all its twists and turns.
And Rosalind, on the other hand, seems to be savoring every moment, every experience.
Every wrinkle.
It's beautiful.
It is.
What if we all adopted that mindset?
What if we did?
What if we stopped trying to fight the inevitable and just focused on living each stage of life to the fullest?
That's a great question.
It is.
So after diving deep into Rosalind's world,
Yeah.
what are some of your key takeaways?
You know what struck me the most is her emphasis on authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
She's not afraid to be herself, to voice her opinions, to challenge the status quo.
She encourages us to embrace our individuality,
Yeah.
to live life on our own terms.
And she reminds us that true fulfillment comes from within.
It's about self-respect, self-love, and building genuine connections with others.
It's not about the material possessions
Right.
or the societal expectations.
It's about finding what truly matters to you and pursuing it with passion and conviction.
Rosalind's story is really a testament to that.
It is.
The power of resilience, self-belief,
Mm-hmm.
and the importance of nurturing meaningful relationships.
She's given us a lot to think about.
She has.
And I think the beauty of this deep dive is that it's just the beginning of the conversation.
It is. We've explored some fascinating themes, but now it's up to each of us to reflect on what resonates with us
Yes.
and apply those insights to our own lives.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's a thought for you to ponder.
Okay.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self one piece of advice
Mm-hmm.
based on Rosalind's wisdom,
Right.
what would it be?
Wow.
What would you tell yourself to prioritize, to let go of, to embrace?
That's a great question to leave our listeners with.
And remember, the journey of self-discovery and growth never really ends.
It doesn't.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep striving to live a life that is authentic and meaningful to you.
What's it?
Until next time, happy diving.